guys, it's Ashley
and Erin,
and we're from Penelope Dutch, and today we wanted to do a video on goal planning. A little bit of how we personally goal plan, some of the plans that we're working on this year, and how we kind of set them up in our planners and what kind of planners we utilize for that. And then we also want to talk a little bit about a kit that we built in our shop that you can actually utilize to goal plan.
In the EC, the Erin Condren, specifically.
We specifically built it for the Erin Condren, but you can use it really in anything you want.
And you can use it not even just specifically for goal planning. You could even use it a little bit for like list making or like big list making, in the front of the planner. So yeah, we will go over that kit and show you some examples of that.
Yeah. So to kick it off, I think we should talk a little bit about goals in general. Like why should you set goals every year? And actually that's something that I really started doing, I would say about 2 years ago. I personally would do it really when we started making, at the end of the year, you start to think about your year and then you want to kind of make your New Year's resolutions. So every year I would, on January 1st, I would actually take my planner somewhere, my new planner for that year, and I would go write down all of the goals that I wanted to accomplish that year. And I kind of would start there because I feel like it's important to write them down so that you can reference them, you don't forget them, and that you kind of have a setup for the year.
There's lots of statistics around writing goals down, and even if you don't look at them ever again, writing them down apparently locks it in your brain, and you're way more likely to.
There's science that proves that it's more likely that you'll do it if you write it down. I think that goes back to, that's why planning is so successful. If you write things down, you have it in your head what you need to do. You remember, because I always forget. I have a tendency to forget things that I'm supposed to do. If it's not written down, it's very likely, if I don't have a list, it's very likely it will not happen. That revolves around my personal life, my work life, my professional work life, our side hustle life. It really is true. And one thing I also want to mention, we're doing this video, it's March. I still haven't actually written down my goals. I know them in my head, but I haven't written them down in my planner. We've been so busy. We've been traveling.
Well, we did take our big vacation right the very first week of January, which threw things off a little bit. It was
took
great,
an international trip, so
it did throw off the beginning of January, and especially with the shop, we kept the shop open, so we did have to catch up on a lot of orders.
So we had a lot of orders. Like we were really busy focusing on the shop. So personally, I haven't
so our personal planning did not get very far. I didn't get very far either.
Right. But I want to encourage people, if you missed the New Year's, it's never too late to start, because
to start the goals.
You could do this at any time. It could be December and you're starting. It doesn't matter. I think at the end of the day, you just have to start, and you have to write them down. You have to start somewhere.
Yes, another big thing is if you get a little derailed, if something comes up and you get busy, if life happens. I would say the hardest thing is to get back on track with your goals, but and that's related to fitness too. Lots of times the biggest thing is you get off track with fitness, and you almost don't even want, it's harder to get back on track. You're like, I didn't do it, so now I might as well just give up. But it's always good to get back on track and get started again. I would say, actually, I haven't been goal planning in a really long time, haven't been focused on it, and actually this year I really wanted to focus on it, and that was the main reason I got the personal planner I did, the Living Well planner, because it's very goal focused.
So the Living Well planner you're utilizing.
I'm utilizing it as my personal planner and my goal planner. It's a combo type system, and that's one of the main reasons I got it, is because I wanted to focus on goals this year specifically. And I honestly think one of the hardest things with goal setting is you have tons and tons of things you want to accomplish, tons of goals, and you have to narrow it down because you can't do them all.
I think that's a really good point. There are so many areas that I like to focus on. I mean, there's personal stuff, there's fitness stuff, there's wellness, there's health, work. There's so many different areas that you do have to really kind of pare down what's doable for the year, and sometimes you can do more, sometimes you can do less, but I do think it's important that you kind of think about it, think about what's most important.
Yeah, and I think that's the hardest thing, is paring down those goals and picking. And with the Living Well planner, they recommend you pick your top, basically three big goals for the year. They do have some sections for, personal or fitness or just general little goals that are supposed to be smaller. Which makes a lot of sense because if you had 5 big goals for the year, I mean, it would be practically impossible to accomplish them all. And so they want you to pick out 3 main goals for the whole year, and they always recommend doing a big, like, basically brain dump of, like, your big goals for life. They really recommend reading the book, The Magic of Thinking Big. And I did this, I did a whole brain dump on all the huge goals I would love to accomplish, and they have no time frame on them. They're big life goals. So there's no timeline on them. They're just big life goals that you set down so that when you're planning your yearly goals, you can actually kind of look at it and focus in on them and hone in on what would help you accomplish those big lifetime goals this year.
Start taking the steps.
Taking the small steps. Right. So, as an example, say one of your big lifetime goals was to live debt-free. So live debt-free.
It's a good goal.
Huge goal. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, huge goal. You may not accomplish it for years and years and years down the road. Long-term goal. So your big goal is to live debt-free. Your goal for this year might be to pay off all your credit cards.
Right.
And then you break that down into more manageable steps. This month, I'm going to pay off the smallest balance one, or I'm going to pay, $500 towards my credit cards, or $1,000. And then at the end of the year, hopefully you'll have paid off all those credit cards, and then you're one step closer to that big lifetime goal of living debt-free.
I like that.
It's a much more manageable system for me, and I really like the idea of it, especially because they have all these worksheets that go with it. They have a crushing it worksheet where you break down your big yearly goals into manageable steps. You have to list out your why this goal is important to you, which I think is humongous.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because I think the why you're doing something, that should be asked every time you write a goal down. Because I think sometimes when you examine why you're really doing it, you may actually find out that that's not exactly what you want.
Yeah, the way they list it is you claim your target. That's the first step. What do you want to accomplish? Then you refine your objective. You have to get specific about your measures of success. So how would you measure your success, which I think is huge too. So like if you say you want to get fit this year, well, that's very vague.
What does that mean?
Extremely vague. So you will have to refine your specifics. So specific measurements. I want to run a 10K. Give yourself a date. Which 10K are you running?
Right.
It could be any number of things,
Or if it's about weight loss and you want to hit a specific number.
Weight loss number.
Or maybe it's not just that. Maybe it's actually you're doing measurements and you're trying to either build muscle or
even if it's like a cardio measurement, like I want to be able to run
this much,
like this 30 minutes nonstop without breaks or something like that. But you have to refine your objective. That's step 2. You is understand your motivation. So this is the why piece. Why is this goal important?
Yeah.
And honestly, that is one of the biggest pieces that they focus on, and which makes complete sense, because honestly, you can set these goals, but if it actually doesn't matter that much to you, what's your motivation in getting it done?
Right.
Yeah, why would you even get it done if you don't know your why? If you don't know what your motivation is for getting it done?
And let's use the example of losing weight. I think a lot of people throw this goal out every year.
Oh, every year.
And it's really vague. It's like, I want to lose weight. Well, why?
Why do you want to lose weight?
Why? Do you want to feel better about yourself? Do you want to have more confidence? Do you want to be healthier?
Yes.
And there's other things that you can do, that are more specific that can also help you with those different whys. If you want to be more confident, there's other ways to do it too besides losing weight. Losing weight's great, and I love weight loss stuff. I could talk all day about working out and stuff. Because that's also on one of my goals is fitness related. But my goals are changing this year. I spent, for instance, I'll just be specific because I feel like this helps with examples. So like the last 2 years, I spent really doing weight loss goals, and I had to change eating. It wasn't just going to the gym, it was how I was eating, and it was going to the gym more consistent, more regular. I lost 40 pounds over the last 2 years, kind of slowly, just doing a different routine, a different lifestyle. And now, I've lost weight. I kind of want to be in a maintenance type mode, and I also want to continue my fitness, but now I have to kind of make some new goals for myself, maybe do a 5K just for fun, or get a routine down, or have some kind of consistency so that I don't get bored, because things change. Every year is a little bit different, so those are the things I'll be looking at this year, is trying to kind of find some new fitness goals for myself.
Yeah, and your new fitness goals, since you did do your basically big goal, it could just be smaller goals related to general fitness, as versus like a big, I want to get, in the best shape of my life type goal, or big weight loss goal.
Right.
And with this breakdown, the next step, which you kind of already alluded to, is S, which is step it out. So this is what has to happen in order to make this goal successful. So this way you're listing exact steps. So you have the fitness goal, you're listing exact steps. Eating better.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? What does eating better mean?
Right. For working out, that was going and getting HelloFresh, which is the food delivery subscription service, and actually getting meals delivered that I could cook. So they were healthy, they were fresh, and it's not a diet.
And they were portion controlled.
They were portion controlled, and that's where I mess up the most with my weight loss, is that I just tend to overeat. That's just, I like food. So having portion controlled meals that tasted good, because I like to taste good food, it had to taste good to me. So that was one of my steps in order to get my fitness in order.
Yeah, so then you step it out. What things do you need to accomplish to make it there? Like if you set your goal to do a 10K, maybe one of those steps is to complete a, couch to 10K program. Or
we have stickers for that.
We do have stickers for that. Go to the gym a certain number of times a week.
Yeah, hitting the gym a certain number of times a week, I think, especially for this one, if we're being specific, is consistency and moderation. I think those are the two things. You don't have to kill yourself to do these types of things. Once you fall off, if you don't go that week, go the next week. Get back up and go. So keeping your consistency and moderation for any goal is always, I think, a good tip too.
Yeah, and that is very important. Stepping it out is huge, because if you just have this big general goal,
but you don't have the steps to get there.
You don't have the steps to get there. It makes it much harder, and then it's really hard to plan how you're going to accomplish that goal each week, like put it out in the week.
I like that this is a worksheet though.
This is a worksheet.
This is a full worksheet to figure it out.
Worksheet. This is by Living Well, Spending Less. It is available as a...
Make it a little closer.
Yeah, it is available in her shop as a PDF download. It's part of her planner, but you can get it as a PDF download too.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and
so what other things you've got?
So it's called Crushing It, and so that's the acronym. So we've done C for claim your target, R is refine your objective, U is understand your motivation, why you're doing it, S is step it out. We're now on to H, which is really important too, handle obstacles.
Okay.
This is huge. So what are the potential roadblocks that will stop you from getting this done? So like you already alluded to it, one roadblock may be you aren't the best chef, you don't have a lot of time.
Right.
So handle your roadblock by just getting the meal subscription service.
Right.
It could be anything related to your goal that could be a roadblock. What do you see coming up that would stop you from accomplishing the goal? And handle it now, as opposed to getting thrown off track when
come up
when
with
it happens.
A plan. Yeah, and I think it goes back to it. You have to, if you know you want to accomplish something, and there's going to be some obstacles that come up along the way. I mean, life happens. Things get involved, and you go in one direction. I think getting back on track is a very difficult thing to do, in some cases, but if you kind of think about the obstacles ahead of time, I'm going to go on vacation for a week, so I'm not going to be able to do my routine. What plans are you putting in place maybe prior to going? If you're fitness related, is there a gym where you're going? Did you pack your gym clothes? Or being okay with, hey, I'm going to take a week off and then I'm going to get back to it when I come back. I think you just have to have those obstacles in mind before you start, because you kind of are preparing for the road bumps as you go.
Yeah. I is implement your plan. What is the danger you face if you don't follow through with it? So I actually think this kind of goes right in line with understanding your motivation and why. So you have to, it's great if you plan this all out. If you don't actually do it, then it means nothing. So you have to implement your plan. And you're writing down what would happen if this didn't get accomplished. Again, it goes back to your why. Why are you doing this? And what would happen if I didn't do it?
Would you be disappointed? Would your health suffer?
Yeah, I mean, lots of different options.
For whatever it is.
If it's financial,
further in debt,
or it could really harm your marriage. Actually, it's the number one reason marriages fail is money related.
Well, yeah.
Money arguments and money related. Right. So that's huge. And then the very last one, which is actually my favorite, is treat yourself. So how will you celebrate? How will you celebrate your win? So when you get this accomplished, what is your reward?
Yeah.
What is your reward? Which I think is great.
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite part. What is your reward? What will you do? What will you get yourself? Right. It could be any number of things, whatever motivates you most. And so that's the full goal crushing worksheet that's part of the Living Well planner that I'm using, and it is available in the Living Well Spending Less shop. Her shop is a PDF download.
Yeah, just a quick.
It's probably backwards anyway. And we can do.
We'll put the links below.
We'll put the links below so you can check it out. But I think this is going to be honestly game changing for me. I did the full year, long-term year goals. I haven't broken them down on the Crushing It worksheet yet. I haven't had time. But that is my next plan, is to break it down onto the Crushing It worksheet so that I have a plan for each month going forward on how I'm going to accomplish the top goals I have for this year.
And I like the little thing it says here under goal crushing. It says breaking big into bite size. And I think that's always the intimidating thing. Like, if you have to lose 60 pounds or more, it seems almost impossible sometimes. You're like, how am I ever going to reach
if you have, $15,000 in credit card debt, I mean, it's huge.
Right.
It doesn't even
seem... And it intimidates you, and a lot of times you don't even want to think about it. You just want to bury your head.
Yeah.
But the reality is, you're never going to make progress unless you start somewhere. And I like how there's options to plan this out and gives you kind of, things to think about as your goal planning. So I think that's really great.
No, it's really, really nice. And again, like we had talked about in our previous video about the planners we're using this year, when you do buy this planner from Living Well Spending Less, you do get access to her Crushing It Central. It's a separate website that you log into that has videos on how to use the planner and lots of different things. And she goes over a lot about the Crushing It worksheet and goal planning in general and breaking it into bite-sized pieces and why figuring out or understanding your motivation and your why is so important. And she goes into lots of different examples, which is extremely helpful, especially since I'm not a very self-motivated person. I don't motivate myself very easily, and actually I'm not very motivated by other people either.
That's how do you get motivated?
That's the hard part. And so
but that's a reality. Some people
aren't. It is. Yeah. It is. If other people tell me to do something, I'm actually less likely to do it. Which is amusing. And so I think that understanding your why piece is the biggest part for me. Yeah. For me, it's the biggest part, along with the stepping it out, because I'm very easily overwhelmed by the magnitude of getting stuff done. And honestly, it usually just freezes me, especially if it's a big project, like a big organizing project, and you don't know where to start. I just won't start then.
Yeah, and I think that's so common though. I feel like that a lot of times with big work projects, like so much is coming at you and it seems overwhelming and where do I even begin? And for me, and I'll go into my planning process that I typically use. When I get a big goal like that there's so much, or I need to do so much, I just start making lists. And they don't have to be pretty, they can be ugly, they can be on just a piece of paper. I write down everything that I think I need to do. And then once I've written the ugly version, I get a new piece of paper and I start kind of organizing the steps, or I organize what has to happen first. Where do I begin?
Yeah, and then you can put it into order even, because some things do have to come before other things.
Right. Because again, it's kind of like a brain dump. You get it all out, and then you can kind of see, okay, let me organize this and get it in a better form. And then normally it'll go into my planner after that. So I kind of have a 3-step process. I make an ugly version, I make a little bit more neat and organized, at least timeline.
Yeah, and I kind of did the same thing. I made the big brain dump of all my big, huge lifetime goals, so that I could figure out what a good yearly goals are. And I did kind of do kind of scratch version, so to speak, and then I will be putting it more into the planner after the fact. Because sometimes you don't necessarily realize what the steps are until you start, brain dumping it out, and then you're like, oh, these would be the best steps to accomplish it. I agree, because
you really have to think through, and again, going back to the why you're doing it is important, but thinking through all the things that you could do to help yourself.
Well, and even the refining your goal part,
being specific,
it does take a little bit of time to think out what good measurements would be. Realistic measurements. Would I want to, run a 10K, or would I want to lose 15 pounds?
What are we looking at?
What would be the best options, and what would be the best combo of options? I would like to lose 15 pounds and run a 10K, and that would to me feel like success for my goal of, becoming fit or being in the best shape of my life or whatever the goal might be.
So let's take a look then at the goal setting kit that we built that actually, and this is really, like I said, it fits the Erin Condren first. So I will let you hold that kit, and then I'm going to show you kind of where in the Erin Condren it is. It's actually right in the very, very beginning, like right after your calendar for 2018 and 2019. You then see these little boxes, and they're kind of just open. They're really vague. It basically says motivation is what gets you started, planning is what keeps you going. And so we built a kit to fit this particular section. And again, you don't have to use these in the Erin Condren, they just fit in the Erin Condren.
And technically, you wouldn't necessarily even have to use this specifically for goal setting. This could be used for list making too, like yearly list making, which is kind of like goal setting. But yeah, it could
things
be
you want to accomplish in the year.
Yeah, it could almost be like a yearly list making. You could even use it. They're blank boxes at the top with numbered lines
1 through 7.
1 through 7. So you could even use it for like your yearly cleaning schedule or something. You could use it for a lot of different things, actually.
Yeah, it's actually very customizable, and I think that's what Erin and I really like about the stickers that we create, is a lot of them are very custom to what you need. So yeah, let me show the box up front. So yeah, they again, they're blank up at the top, and then they are numbered 1 through 7 with aligned with basically just a line across so that you can write in what you need.
You get 12 boxes.
Yeah, you get 12 boxes.
All in different colors.
Yes, different colors, rainbow. And then this is the particular sheet that is really where you can customize those boxes. So you have the written text up here. These are kind of, the idea is to go into the top of the box to fit the category of what category it is. So here's the categories that we created this year. I thought these were the most encompassing, but again, if you guys see something we're missing, let us know in the comments below.
And you can almost write in whatever section.
Yeah, you can also write it in. Again, it's super usable, user-friendly. So we have goals, just in general, because maybe you want to use boxes for other things. We have fitness. Fitness is a big one that I always use. Finances, I think, is another big one a lot of people use. Health, work, self-improvement, self-care, which are two different things. Travel, education, entertainment, planning, because we have a lot of planner goals. And I'm sure as you guys are probably watching this video as planners, you probably have planning goals too. Family, reading, business, and personal. So we tried to give you a lot of options to fill in the blanks. And then you could actually list out the individual steps, that you want to do to get your goal that year. Or what I like to do is I have multiple goals within a category.
Yes.
So like for fitness, I want to maintain my weight. I want to eat healthier, and there are different things I want to list under that category that I could do. I'm trying to think of another one with work, like I want to go to a conference this year. I want to get some further education for a work issue, or I want to accomplish this event that I'm doing. There's a lot of different things that you could kind of write down. And then we're very big on rewarding yourself if you've accomplished your goals. So we do have a whole section on that sheet, the very last one, with your reward ribbons, your reward trophies, and then your little stars. So you can kind of, again, track how you're doing on your goal based on each maybe item you've accomplished or how you feel like you're doing. Or you could rate yourself at the end of the year. You could put these by there to kind of give yourself that little, it's done, check it off the list. So that's our goal setting kit. It's in the shop, and again, we'll put a link below to that if it's something that you're interested in. And again, it's just kind of a kit to get you started, thinking about your goals. And again, it's something I normally like to do at the beginning of the year, but it's March and here we are, and I still haven't filled mine out. As you can see, this is my personal planner. I still haven't done it. It's actually something I plan to do this week. We've had a busy year, like we said, but I really want to get them down because, again, I feel like I'm more likely to do them if they're written.
Yeah, no, and you're definitely more likely to do them if they're written. And yeah, like I said, I have my long-term goals for this year, my top 3 already written out. I just have to finish my crushing it worksheets to get them laid out like with my exact, you know,
your action
my
steps.
my action steps and my measurements, what's going to constitute actually accomplishing the goal, what measurements I have, and the actual steps, so I can start filling it in throughout the year and stay on track. I haven't gotten that far. I did do the big brain dump, and I do have the 3 goals that I'm working on this year, but I haven't completely finished setting up that planner.
Yeah. Well, thanks guys for watching. We appreciate, you know, your support, and if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. We'd be happy to address them there. And if you have any other ideas for videos or anything you want to hear us talk about as well, we're coming up with some new ideas for future things. So please leave your suggestions down below, and we will see you in our next video.
Yeah, and feel free to leave any comments you have about how you guys like to goal plan too.
Yeah, share with us in the comments below if there are maybe some ideas you have that could help other people, and I don't know, maybe us as well. We could kind of take a look at those, because we're always looking at new things. I think you and I are
very much so.
We're always changing how we're doing things, so there's always room to grow and learn. So awesome. We'll see you guys in our next video. Bye.